So the idea today is to try to do a presentation that is not too techy and that is telling you plenty of information about QField from a slightly different angle. I really don't see almost my slides. So. Anyway, QField 3 was released in spring this year. It's full of new features, and it's really something amazing to see where it got into. But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. Today I want to talk to you about we really care at OpenGIS when we develop QField. There is about 350,000 users per month using QField worldwide. Then my next talk was supposed to be called 1,000,000 Reasons to Use QField. I had to change the title to 1,300,000 Reasons to Use QField because we are having a download rate that is just crazy. So we have had these 300,000 new downloads since when I submitted the talk to today. We're talking about 50,000 new downloads per month or something like that. So it's a really, really big thing. And developing QField during all these years, I started back in 2011, I realized that QField is being used in really important places. And that's why we decided to call the 3 series of QField dedicated to forest. So 3.0 was called Amazonia. And we went on with different, we passed to Darien, and now we're at Ebo. Because forests are very important. And forests help us maintain the world in a good state. And because of that, we decided to go this way, to dedicate things to that. To put that in context, today there are about 15 billion trees being cut every year. I did a bit of calculation. That's almost 10% of Para, if you are from the region. If you're not from the region, that's about 30 soccer fields per minute that are disappearing. And we want to make, to show that we can, with open source as well, help protect those kind of things. Brazil is very densely forested. It has 59% coverage. And Pará is particularly densely forested. So today I'm going to show you the story of João, which is, you'll see that the pictures are slightly more Swiss than Brazilian because I prepared that for another conference back home. João is a forestry manager in the Pará region, and one day, unfortunately, walking around his forestry area, he discovered that beetles had infested an area. What does that mean? What are sickness? What happens when that happens? Well, it's sad for them, of course, but the first thing that they need to do is to take care of it. And how can you take care of problem in a forest? Well, the first thing that you need to do is consider how about to work meticulously. You need to be efficient, and you need to be able to do quick reporting. That is why João decides to deal with this problem using QField. QField is a tool that allows him to try to manage this in a meticulous way. He can do very interesting mapping. He can do, he can have symbologies that are very representative. He can have the same symbology that he has in QGIS, which he already uses. So the key point in managing the problem, being meticulous, can, of course, be taken care of. The next part is being able to take care of the data that's in the field. That is the main point of a field application, is to actually being able to collect, edit, modify the data that you have. And photos, videos, sounds are very relevant to this. It goes by himself to say that QField obviously can do that, and that is why João keeps on building up his project this way. As soon as you start, or as soon as he starts working more and more in the field, he realizes that sometimes he needs certain informations, other times he needs other informations, and at other times he needs even other information. And switching layers all the time is not very comfortable. Turning on a layer, turning on a layer, putting it up, putting it down. So what he discovers is that he can use map teams, as he does in QGIS, which are pre-selections of configurations of the map. So you can say, well, now I'm a bit far away. I want to look at the overview. So I'm more interested in what kind of roads do I have that come over here? Can I have some sort of equipment being delivered or not? Do I need to fly stuff? Or am I really close to the tree? I really want to look at what do I have in a micro area currently. So it can quickly switch from aerial photography to maps to whatever he configured. Just by the touch of a button, he will switch the way that he can see his data. When he works around, he encounters things, and at times there are infrastructure, of course, possibly not this kind of bridge in the forest in Pará, but we have the possibility in QField to define some sketching templates that you can load while you're in the field and draw on them. It could be a picture that you take, so Joao could just go out, take a picture of the tree, and then draw on the tree, say, here is where the attack started, and here is where it's completely gone, this one we have to kill, and so on. Or it could be some PDF sketches that he created beforehand to save some work on the field and then edit them on the field. So you can either sketch new pictures or you can work on sketching templates. In forestry, maybe a little bit less relevant. In engineering, infrastructure, I mean, if you know that you have to take care of some sort of infrastructure and you have a sketch pre-done, it's saving a lot of time. Efficiency, I mentioned at the beginning, it's obviously very important. Forests are usually, and especially in Brazil, huge. So efficiency need to be quite at a high level. That is why he configures his project so that a lot of the data that he needs to enter are entered automatically for him. Default values, constraints, pre-choices or pre-made choices are things that allow him to be much more efficient. When he's digitizing and he doesn't have to type what time it is now because the project was pre-configured and it's already filling out automatically the date, that saves him every time 3 clicks. Not having to write his name because he configured a variable with his name, that saves him, in my case, 26 letters. So that's a lot of time savers that he can put into. Also, the other great thing for him is that he can take his data and use it as a decision support on site. He can start measuring, he can start looking at areas, he can look at the data that he has and doing analysis of accessibility and so on and so on. All these kind of tools allow him to have better decision on site, which usually reflects in better data as well. At times, and slightly more specific, more relevant in Switzerland, where we have a bit more of strong topography, the availability of cutting into your data sidewise. If you have a point cloud of data, if you have a terrain, you can draw a line and you can get the profile view of it, so you could see how things look like. In Switzerland, we usually, when we need to get trees out of the forest, we need to cut lines of trees to place a cable to get out. I guess that in Brazil is probably similar, but on the horizontal, we have the vertical component that is much more important, and that's why the profile view becomes really, really interesting as soon as you have a lot of topography. And this profile view can go through LiDAR data, so LiDAR point cloud. So you're actually seeing, you could be in a city and see the frontal view of the city. I said, analysis also possible. We can do in QField, you can run some processing algorithms that are available directly within QField. So if Joao digitizes something and he knows that it should be square or orthogonal, he can just digitize it a little bit semi-precisely and then ask processing to do it exactly orthogonal, or it can be rotated into certain angles. So pretty powerful features that are coming more and more to QField because the framework for having processing algorithms running right on the field is there. This was a major work to get there, but now it opens up a lot of possibility to a lot of possibility for things like double slide, sorry. A lot of possibility for doing advanced analysis. Same thing, he can configure his project to do relations between layers. So he can choose one of his management lots, the square, and get information about things that are in that management lots. What was that management lot impacted at all by beetles? Do I need to go in there? No, because there is nothing, so I can go to the next management lot. Really strong kind of things. Obviously, internet connectivity, it's a big issue in the forests. The more remote you are, the less likely you have internet connectivity. With QField, if you're using pure QField, you need to decide ahead if you want to be completely offline or completely online. If you decide for online and you suddenly are offline, you cannot work. That's the drawback of a pure online. But if Joao needs to quickly react in the field because the situation is that bad that he needs to inform a politician or another team leader or something, he can generate on the field atlases. Atlases are pre-configured as well. You create them when you create your project. You say, I would like this atlas or that atlas or that atlas. And on the field, you can either generate atlases for all the features that you have, or you can select, I've been on this field, and that field, please generate me an atlas that I can then, as a PDF, just quickly send to the mayor of the city and tell him, I need some funding to fix this. It's urgent, it's burning now. We need to take care of it very quickly. Since a couple of months, and maybe some of you were in my presentation yesterday, Joao has even more possibility because QField supports plugins. What does it mean? It means that he can go and write some JavaScript or ask some friends that know how to write JavaScript or ask a company that is specialized in doing support and write JavaScript for him with very specific features that are tailored to his needs without needing to go and change QField. If you need to go and change QField itself, it means that you need to release an application, that you need to take care of it. That comes with a lot of burden because as soon as you create your own applications, you need to maintain the code because QField is moving fast. We are releasing a new version every more or less 3 months. So you need to keep up with it if you created your own application, or you will end up with a slightly older application. Maybe you're still happy with it. But with the concept of plugins, we are moving the configuration that you can do away from the app itself and moving it into something that you can add on top of it. That means QField keeps on moving. We keep on delivering 4 versions per year, plus all the bug fixes version that come out maybe 3-4 times a month. And you just need to take care of your own JavaScript code. The code you see here does OSM routing via an API call. I think it's about 120 lines of code that you wrote, so you know what you wrote, and it's 120 lines. It's nothing. So you get a lot of customization possibility with JavaScript and QML in a very, very simple way with a very low overhead in managing code. And the deployment, not here. The deployment is super easy because you just put it either on the side of the QGIS project, and through QField Cloud, it just gets automatically deployed to everybody that gets your project is also getting the plugin. Or if it's a plugin that is not project related, but it's more a generic plugin, like for example, we did a plugin, well, the one we just saw is not specific to the to a project, is something you can use in any project. This you can directly install in QField, and then it's available in any other project that you have. QField is the leading app out there. We have, as I said, you see my slide that was updated last week. We were at 1.2 million. Yesterday I checked, we were at 1.3 million. So it's really growing extremely fast. It runs on Android, on iOS, on Windows, on Linux, and on macOS. Why do I mention that? Because most people think correctly that QField is an app for the field, which it is. But it has a fantastic side effect of being a very simple GIS or a very simple QGIS viewer for your colleagues that do not like all those buttons that QGIS has. Do you have somebody that needs to look at map in your office? And QGIS is a bit of an overhead for them because it does a lot. It comes with a lot of buttons. It is a professional GIS tool. You could, of course, go and strip all the buttons away and everything, but the user interface of QField is just much more beautiful. And you give that to people. You go on Windows, on the Windows Store, you type QField, and you click install, and it comes to your desktop, and you can open QGIS projects, interact with them the very same way that you interact with them on your tablet or on your phone. And it's very easy for people because it's kind of this new touch interfaces that we all know much better than the more dated desktop interface that QGIS has. So really nice also as an educational GIS or as for colleagues that are a bit scared of QGIS itself. Obviously, thanks to all these amazing features, they saved Joao and his colleagues saved the forest. But the main point is that managing forests is, yes, of course, could be the fault of the beetle, but it could also be the fault of the processes that we have. Processes are extremely important, and having technology that helps your process is key. So with tools that have no licensing costs, and are widely available on any platform that you can imagine, you can reach extremely high technological level to manage your problems. Obviously, the mayor was also impressed. He was so happy about the work that Joao did in the forest that he asked Joao to take the lead and roll out QField in multiple cases. Obviously, QField is not only related to forestry. It's a project that is data agnostic. You decide what kind of data you care about. You decide if it's, somebody told me yesterday that they are doing inventory of nice statues in cemeteries with QField. I've seen bees reports. You'll see in the next presentation what people are doing. So there is plenty of things that you can do with QField. It only depends on what you want to do with it. At a certain point, Joao and the mayor were hitting their limit of knowing how to do things. Obviously came to OpenGIS, and we helped them go further with some setting up their infrastructure. We're creating their projects, and we're developing plugins so that they could go and take care of the data that they care about. That would have been my first talk. I'll talk for 25 minutes more later, but do you have any questions on this so far? Thank you.